Science A, Unit 2, Lesson 6, String Methods. In this lesson, you will understand that a string is made up of characters which are stored with indices starting at 0 and increasing sequentially up to length -1. You will learn the purpose and behavior of several different functions from the string class and use these in code. We have a message. String message is set to the value APCS is a fun class! Exclamation point. Notice I've put the indices for each one of the characters in the string. A, location 0. At index 1, we have the letter P. At index 2, we have a space, and so on. String commands. This import statement, by the way, happens automatically. Import java.lang.string brings in all of these fun things that you can do with strings. What are the things that you can do? Well, you can get the length. There's a method. It gives you the length of the string. Message.length 2. Okay, and we're not necessarily talking about this one up here, just in general. Okay. String.substring int from and to returns the substring beginning at from and ending at 2 minus 1. Okay, oops, sorry. This actually message up here, if we're looking at this message, the length should be 21. So let's save that. All right. So up here, 6, 17, we start at 6 and we have is, and we go all the way up to 17 minus 1. Okay, so is a fun CL. Dot string int from returns a substring from to the length. So here, if we start at 15, if we just say 15, that starts at 15 and says go to the end. Int. Okay, this, and by the way, this is the return, what type of thing it returns. Index of string returns the index of the first occurrence of string. So if I have message.index of quote A, it's going to run through here. And remember, capital A and lowercase a are different. It finds a lowercase a, and that index is 9. And so that's what's returned. What if we look for message.index of capital I? Well, we look through our whole message, and while we do have a lowercase I, we don't have an uppercase I, and so it returns a -1. There is, which indicates there isn't one. We know that because we can't have a negative index in a string. Returning an int is the compare to, string other. You just have to be concerned with positive and negative, not the actual value. So compare to, and you compare it to another string, returns a value less than 0 if this is lexicographically less than the other. Returns a value of 0 if this is lexicographically equal to other. And it returns a value greater than 0 if this is lexicographically greater than other. So let's look at it. I've got string first is set to C. If I do first dot compare to A, I get a 2. What does 2 mean? It's greater than. That means this, or first, is greater than the other. First dot compare to G, -4, it's less than. And compared to C, it's the same. Notice that C and C are identical. So it's comparing and saying it's the same. Okay. A C comes after A, so it's greater than. A G comes, sorry, an A comes before C, which is why you get the 2. C is greater than, if you will. G comes afterwards, so C is greater than. That's why you get the -4. Right? Again, you don't have to think too much about anything other than positives and negatives. And if you look here, you can see this is the value that we're looking at. G had 7, A had 1. Okay? Now, if we look at string message is set to APCS as a fun class, And there it is with the indices. What I want to do is take a look at these questions. At what position is the first character in the string? Message.index of A. It's at location 0. Location 0. Okay. What is the position of the first S? So how would I find that? What command would I use? I would use message of index, and let's make that S, okay? And the S is found at 7. And notice this S, I know it's hard to tell here, but APCS, this is a capital S, okay? All right. Now, what if I want to find out at what position does fun begin at? Well, how would I do that? I want to look for fun. So I'm going to do message.index of, and in double quotes, I'm going to put the word or the string fun. And it should return 11. At what position does class begin at? Again, where's class? How do I do it? Message.index of, and I want class. And it should give me 15, because that's the index where class begins. Now, how long is the string? Message.length. And I don't have to pass it anything because it knows it's looking at the message. And it comes up with 22. Okay? 2, 3, 9, 10. And it's not 22, it should be 21. Oops. I'm not just sure where some of these, sorry, fat finger typos, you know. Let me pause this for. And how did we get the length? It starts at 0 and it goes to 20, but there's actually 21 characters. Okay, it's one more than this last index. What word begins at position 11 and ends 1 before 14? Well, I would want to get the substring from 11 through 14, because remember, it's going to end. It's going to come back 1. So this is going to start at 11, go out to 14, come back 1, and so it's going to give you fun. What phrase begins at position 15 and ends at the end of the string? Boom, that should be class exclamation point. And the Java command would be substring 15. Which word comes first in the dictionary? Is or fun? Now this one you could use fun as, you know, do fun dot compare to is, or is dot compare to fun. Either one would work. You just have to know what you're looking at. Okay? Fun comes first because lexicographically that means the letter F is going to come before I, so boom, you're going to wind up with fun being the first one. Okay? And if you're confused, try it out. Look to see what it's going to compare. Now, here are some more examples. At this point, you should pause the video. Remember the double asterisks, or the double quote do not have an index. So when you see this double quote, we will get a 5 on the exam, end quote. The only part of this that is your string is we will get a 5 on the exam, exclamation point. So at this point, I'm going to scroll this up. Oops, I guess I'll leave it here. And you should be able, yep, you can see everything. Pause the video and try these. Try these, and then we're going to come back and see how you did. Okay, you're back. Let's do a quick check. We will an exam. Everybody good? So far, are you hanging in there? Now, why index out of bounds? Why index out of bounds? First off, doesn't have 28. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 28's out of bounds. There's nothing at 28. We also can't do a substring from 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 to -1. -1, I can't go backwards, and there is no -1. Same thing here. I can't start at -1. I also, again, cannot go backwards. Right? Empty string, if I start at 0 and I print out everything 1 less than 0, it's the empty string. I don't actually want anything here. So these are the tricky ones, if you will. These up here should be pretty straightforward. Okay? This word.substring, there's an error. There's no suitable method for substring with no arguments. If you're asking for a substring, you've got to give it a start and an end, or at least a start. Here, we will get a 5 on the exam. You're going to get the whole thing. You're starting at 0 and go to the end. Here, you're starting at 8, at location 8, and going to the end. The rest of these should be pretty self-explanatory, okay? If I'm starting at 1 less than the word length and I go to word length, it's the empty string, okay? Not too many times you need the empty string, but these are different ways that you would wind up getting an empty string, okay? All right. Chaining commands. We've got a string. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Int length, phrase, dot substring 4,8 dot length. We can add string methods together. You don't want to do too many of these. That would become confusing. But I could get the substring, okay? The substring would start at 4 and go out to 8, subtract 1, so I would get only, and the length of this is 4. String is set to result, phrase, dot substring, phrase, dot index of 2, dot substring 3. Okay, you do this a little bit at a time. Phrase, dot substring 23. Where did the 23 come in? That's this guy, dot substring 3. To fear is fear itself. Dot substring 3, boom. Fear is fear itself. Work inside out. Okay, you would work from the inside out. So the first thing you do is do phrase dot index of 2. So you would find that index. Okay. Substring, you would take from there to the end. So that's where you get to fear is fear itself. And then you do substring 3, you come over here, 0, 1, 2, 3, and you're just at fear. Fear is fear itself. Inside out, just like you do arithmetic. Now, it's your turn to try a few. Show the output of the following code segments. If an error occurs, please just write error. And let me scroll this up just slightly. You have your notes. So these are all in your notes. Go ahead and do these. Pause the video and complete these. Okay, you're done. Let's check them out. Let's take a look at this. Up here, Jack and Jill went up the hill. Did you get hill? Did you get low? Did you get an empty string? Out of bounds. There's nothing at 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't get 6. Okay? It's a length of 5. 6 is one too many. Everybody doing good? Okay. Notice the asterisks. Those are actual ones. All right. Giving you a second to take a look at this. If you're not sure, you don't understand, ask questions. Make sure that you come in, ask questions in class, after school, office hours, etc. Okay, here are some other useful string commands. They're not on the AP test, but you might wind up using them in programs. String to uppercase. Okay, what this does is this takes a string and it changes everything to uppercase. This can be really important. You know all those times when you're asked to put in answers to questions like, what is your high school's mascot? And you all might be too young to realize this, but after a while, I can't remember, did I write shark or sharks with a capital S, or did I just write sharks with a lowercase s? Well, if somebody's checking things, they can just make everything to uppercase or everything to lowercase and do the comparison. And that way, it really doesn't matter if it's upper or lower. You can compare what they said, not the literal, okay, what was meant. The mascot's a shark. Capital S, lower S, doesn't matter, it's a shark. Boolean starts with, okay, it returns a Boolean, starts with, and a string prefix. Example dot starts with, quote, this. Okay. And again, here we have testing this command. This would be false. It doesn't start with this. Boolean ends with test. And again, this could be something where you want to check to see if something ends in a plural or an ed or an ing, things like that. Okay. Result is set to example that ends with test. Okay. Now remember the result does not, oh, this is also false. Hang on. And I apologize, that's my typing stuff. So Boolean result example that ends with test. Okay. And then we have last index of string, and we pass it a string. End position is set to example dot last index of I. That means I want to find out where is the last lowercase I. So if I go from the end back, I notice it's right here in the word this. So I go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It should return 10. Boom. Again, these are useful string commands, not tested on the AP exam, so don't get too worked up over these. The ones that are actually probably the ones you use the most are 2 uppercase and 2 lowercase. And that concludes Lesson 6.